Alright, the arrival of a couple of different Lazada items. I got a new pair of shoes, a hoodie, and a pack of playing cards, which I'll use in class later on today. Welcome to the second video of my, I think I'm going to call it Sober in Hanoi YouTube channel. Hello to the beautiful Kay. Alright, my battery's on 20%. So I'll make it short and snappy. I'm gonna go down, collect some cash. I'm getting paid today from public school. Then I'm gonna do a U-turn, spin up, maybe grab a coffee along the way somewhere. I have some more public school during the day. Then myself and Kay are gonna go in for a little ramble around the Wancam Lake. And then I got another meeting later on, so yeah, let's do it. Okay. So just across the road from us here at Seasons Avenue, we've had this building underway more or less since we moved in. Some pretty bloody nice townhouses. No idea how much they're going to be priced at, but the entire time that we've been building, I've seen these guys come and go. I'm not sure how to zoom in with this bloody camera, but you can see them down there with the green jacket and yellow caps. They all congregate over here on the corner for their coffee. We'd be inside in our Starbucks downstairs, which I'll show you later on, drinking our $5 coffee, and they're across the road in the freezing cold. Yeah, man, look, no point in getting into the bitter life we live in. Some people have it easy like me, and some people have it difficult. So what else have I got to say? Yeah, I said it down in the last little video. I'm off to collect a couple of quid. I'm gonna see if I can chat with Ms. Trang, who is one of the many different agents that you would be dealing with if you moved over here. Maybe Ms. Chang can plug her company a little bit, tell you just exactly what she's looking for, an English teacher. Alright, back on the road. Just to give you a little tip, one of the more obvious ones for that matter, but Google Maps is actually instrumental in anybody living their life over here. So regardless of whether you've been assigned to some public school over in the far corner of the city, or you want to get into town to meet some mates for coffee or whatever, bang it into Google Maps and it'll get you there in no time. Xin chao! So we're at a busy public road section, and I'm going to take you on a little bit of the journey over to pick up my pay. On the right over there actually is a massive outdoor pool. I'm not going to go in there now, but they're actually scattered around the city, so if you ever get sick and tired of your own private swimming pool, take a pic of the many that they have around the city and get in for, you know, the princely sum of about $1 entrance. You can have a beautiful swimming pool. Now I will mention the difference between Saigon and Hanoi will be something that I'll talk about a little bit more. I know I keep on saying that over and over again, but I have lived in Saigon for 2 years. Now I've lived in Hanoi for a year, so I perhaps have a little bit more insight into the differences between the two, what it's like living in the south versus what it's like living in the north. Mostly what I would say is that alright, here's the police up here on the right. Check this out, right? White people don't get pulled in. If I do, that's going to be fucking ridiculous. He sees me with the video and he didn't do a thing, and the other two guys see me with the video and they didn't do a thing. Ah, shit, here's another one. Oh my god, I got stopped. Generally speaking, us white folk don't get pulled in. There you go. There you have it. Woohoo! Yeah, and your man with the 5 or 6 trees on his motorbike, not a bother on him. Yeah, white folk don't get pulled in. In Saigon, I was actually pulled in quite a few times. The thing about it is, as a lot of expats will tell you, if you do get pulled in, now these are back in my drinking days, one of the things that attracted me to Saigon as a heavy drinker was that I could drink to my heart's content, then drive home, and if I was stopped on the way home, it's basically a matter of negotiating your way down from the typical fine, which starts off at about 2 million, which is like 80 euro, and you just haggle down to as little as $10. So most people would say, if you get caught drink driving over here, you have to pay $10. It's different. It's an understatement to say it's different back at home. Sure, as you know, I've been talking to Americans and English folk, Irish folk. We all know, well, heavy drinkers anyway, the repercussions of drink driving, not only on what you would experience in the court system, but the aftermath of it. Like me over in China with my criminal record, I got called into a special sitting, like a disciplinary hearing, in relation to my application for the work permit, right? And this one, scary as they can come, in a kick-ass official, police uniform, with her sidekick beside her. She didn't speak a word of English, and she interrogated me about a careless driving charge I had on my criminal record. Was it careless driving, or was it driving without undue care and attention? But I had to try and explain to her the scale of offence. That, like, at the very top, you've got like vehicular manslaughter with intoxication as an element, whereas at the very lower end, you might get a driving offence for failing to signal correctly. When you come over here to places like bloody China and Vietnam, where there's none of that road offence malarkey, and try and explain to them what this conviction means, they're just looking at it as a piece of paper, as a black mark. They're like, explain this black mark. Why should we let you work in our country? And I'm here saying, no. In Ireland, that basically means I forgot to signal when I was taking a left turn. Oh, sure, look, I got the 3rd degree. Afterwards, my boss at the time said, he said it's normal. What they do is they'll pull in every 2nd or 3rd applicant for a work permit, and they'll just grill them over anything. Particularly though, if you've got a bloody work, if you've got any type of criminal record, then you get more of a grilling. So yeah, as I said, this is my 2nd day driving around with a bloody YouTube camera. I'm noticing the kind of looks I'm getting from my fellow drivers. It's not like they don't drive their machines with 20 fucking chickens on the back of it. One foreigner with a GoPro versus a guy with half his kitchen contents on the back of his bike. Which one looks more bizarre, do you think? So, yeah, the streets of Vietnam versus the streets of Cambodia. There was a chap with the same name as me, a chap called Connor, living in Phnom Penh when I first got there. So, before I went to Australia in 2012, let's check out the flower shop. Before I went to Australia in 2012, I'd saved up a couple of quid, you know, to make the transition as easy as possible. But when I stopped off in Cambodia, in the capital, Phnom Penh, slight left, I suddenly realized that, well, I knew already, you know, my alcoholic head had told me that this wouldn't happen. But when I got to Phnom Penh and I realized that the beers were 50 cent, maximum 60 cent a beer. Here we go. So that's a private ambulance there. There are public ambulances as well, but by and large, everybody has to get out of the way when you hear those sirens. The police, on the other hand, They just drive around and repossess cars. You don't see an actual proper police car over here. There's police motorbikes, but the police generally... it's a different podcast. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, Cambodia, 50-cent beers. I arrived there, I say 50-cent beers, $8 hotels, and I had $4,000 in my bank account at the time. And I've spoken to a couple of people who've been in Australia before. My brother telling me the same thing. If you get to Australia, beers are $14 a glass. So, yeah, you guessed it. I stayed in Cambodia for a total of 4 months, completing a loop of Phnom Penh to Kampot to Sinuxville over and over again. So I would spend a week to 10 days in Phnom Penh, drinking to my heart's content. Then I would do a quick round of all the bars where I'd racked up my bar tabs, pay off my weekly bar tab. Xin chào! Then jump in a taxi, air-conditioned taxi, and like for $15 I would be delivered to my door, to the door of the next place. Nor in Kampot I stayed in a place called Naga House, but I got my own kind of like riverside beach hut for $5. Again, you get the beer tab, so you just drink away. Jesus, I shouldn't really be talking about this on a bloody podcast that I'm trying to promote sobriety for. Holy God. Anyway, let's come back to that story. I'm about halfway there. I might well get into these videos, look back at them and say, you know what, you're doing far too much rambling on these things. This video for me, it's not just to promote Hanoi and all the virtues of living here. It's also for the benefit of my own mental health, to be honest. Okay, I'm 2 minutes away. I've been watching all these guys on YouTube doing exactly what I'm doing right now, and they seem to be having a bloody great laugh doing it. So hence the purchase of a half-decent GoPro device. Xin chào! Hello, hello, hello! And yeah, this is my second day doing this, and I'm already having fun. And this is just out on the roads. Booksellers, mostly in Vietnamese, but you get some English books there as well. You can't go wrong with the purchase of a Kindle. I cannot understate how valuable my Kindle is to me. I have the Irish Times and the Spectator delivered to me. The Irish Times delivered every day, Spectator delivered once a week. As an English teacher, you have buckets of free time. So, you know, having the right reading material, if you are a reader, makes it just a pleasure of a place to live in. Value your free time, because people all over the world are working a grind that we don't have to over here. The 50 to 60 hour work week is burning people out, and what's the point when you can come over here and teach for like 15 hours a week, doing something that's actually a pleasure to do, and get paid more, the equivalent to more, you know? I mean, you get paid $20 to $25 here. I'll talk a little bit more about this in another. Payday! Alright, so this is just to show you how optional the traffic lights are. There's a red light up here. I'll try and give you a better example of it. Look, see? Oncoming traffic, 24, 23, 22. Not a bother on everyone. Optional bloody traffic light system. How bad? Anyway, yeah, just picked up the couple of quid there from Miss Trang, who works for a smart centre. Oh, here's the cops on the side. Hold on, I'll lower this down a bit. Looks like today they're out to try and get anybody with a whatchamacallit, a tuk-tuk. They don't have the same colourful tuk-tuks as they have in Bangkok here that are synonymous with Thai life. They have these ugly kind of shown together tuk-tuks that, you know, they're not really used for taxis. They're used by farmers and the likes, but I think the police will well be cracking down. Right, I'm bringing you inside here for a cup of coffee. What was I saying to you? Yeah, so Miss Trang, she didn't want to be filmed because she is pregnant. So she just said, no, I don't want to promote my company. I'm having a baby. I think I have to get a ticket off this guy. Hey, xin chào, ticket. It's up here. All these coffee shops have the same kind of ticketing system. Yeah. Tôi là Sim. Yeah. Okay. Come on. Right. I was gonna stop off on a traditional Vietnamese shop, but Highlands Coffee is actually a Vietnamese company, and I prefer their coffee. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of what a Highlands coffee shop is about. Highlands versus Starbucks. The two of them compete, but I think Highlands coffee is like 30% cheaper. Okay, I'm gonna order what I want and then I'll talk again. Alright, I have 3% battery, so this is probably gonna be a very short clip. Here we are in Highlands Coffee, and it's a beautiful day. I'm gonna flip it around, give you a quick little snippet of what's going on. No, I was going to tell you a little bit more about how easy it is to find work here, but I don't think I have enough battery juice left to do that, so I will tell you about that in a little while. I said to you before that I'm going to teach you how to come out here with $1,000 in your back burner, and that's what I intend to do. For now, I'm just going to enjoy my coffee. Let's take this up in a little while when I power up the GoPro. Okay, one more little snapshot of what we have going on. Alright, we're off to Kamjiang Secondary School. I've got some afternoon classes there, as I said. I do a little bit of public school work and I do a little bit of private school work. Private school, by private school I mean training centre. And a lot of people will tell you that if you're in Vietnam, one of the better things to do is to mash it up. Have a couple of hours in one place and have another few in another establishment. You're just hedging your bets that way, you know. When I first arrived in Saigon, it was off the back of a recommendation by a buddy of mine by the name of Christopher Pell, who has since gone on to glorious success in establishing a IELTS online company known as IELTS Advantage. Right? Anyway, I got onto him after my 2 years in Australia and my 6 months sitting on a bar stool in the Philippines, when I fell in love with a bar and not a woman, as alcoholics tend to do. I'll talk about that bar maybe in some other time. But yeah, so Christopher Pell, he said to me, come to Saigon. He said, at best you'll be an alcoholic, and at worst you'll be a hopeless drug addict. I laughed it off at the time. I told him, man, I'm already an alcoholic, and coming from Ireland, we just refuse to acknowledge the fact that alcoholism is something that's more or less deep-rooted into our genetic makeup. At the time, still even now, I would say a heavy drinker. So the term alcoholic does not really fit into the Irish lexical resources catalogue. Let's just say, when he said that to me, I laughed it off and I said, look, if it's as real as what you're saying, all I have to do is head over there and do a CELTA course. Now look, the other thing is that the CELTA course, okay, I'm going to give you a little look at this is my training centre over there on the left. ILA. I'll talk a little bit more about that some other time, and I might even bring you right into the heart of it. Anyway, Chris said to me, come over here, do a course, and I'll get you a job in a heartbeat. And I said, mate, it couldn't be that easy, could it? Shit, man. 77 seconds. I've got 43. It's 1:43 now. I've got a 13-minute drive, which means I'm going to be running into the classroom. I don't like to be late. We're only working 20 to 25 hours a week, so it's not like we have a strenuous enough regime to stick to over here. There's a car coming up my backside here that normally cars aren't too bad, but if the bus comes up behind you, the bus will start beeping like a bat out of hell. That's a co-op over there to the left, one of Kay's favourite places for all our weekly bits and bobs. I'll bring you inside a supermarket, maybe the next video or two. So anyway, yeah, Christopher says to me, come over, do the course, and I'll get you a job in a heartbeat. At best you'll be an alcoholic, at worst you'll be a hopeless drug addict. I said, hardy ha. That's hardly going to be the case. So over I land. I went back to the bar stool for a month before I came to Vietnam. The reason being that when I rang home from the Philippines, this was in Christmas of 2016, on the back of an invitation to return from our very generous grandmother, who wanted to have all her grandkids around the Christmas table. This would have been back when she had all her faculties about her. She put out the invitation. She said, I'll pay for you all to get home. And at the time I was in the Philippines, I said, okay, well, if I'm coming home, there's no point in me getting a one-way ticket. I'm not even sure if I was harbouring the notion of returning. I think I was kind of 50-50 at the time. I said, well, look, if I'm going home, I might well take it seriously and send out my CV to a couple of different agents and see if I can get back into the swing of things. When I booked the ticket, I booked a return with a 50% chance of what I was doing. So I really didn't know at that time. I spent 2 years in Australia. To say I drank the shit out of it is an understatement. Anyway, when I got home, I sent out my CV, I'd say, to a couple of different places, and the same old bloody scenario. Yeah, not a bother, Mr. Maguire. We can get you in if you want, not a problem. You will be the professional photocopier that you have been for quite so many years, and if you could just continue to push paper and run around like a little donkey, then no problem at all. And as opposed to, oh, here we are, look at, I'm slowing down to the speed of a cyclist and me already late for class. So I said, I sent out those CVs, and at the same time I was talking to Chris. Chris said, come over here, I'll get you a job in a heartbeat. I hadn't at the time a notion of what an English teacher, a career in English teaching was about. At the time I just thought, look, I'll go over there for 6 months, see what happens. In the back of my mind, I thought that if I liked it, what I'd do is I'd spend 6 months there, and then after that I'd go to China and spend 6 months there, and after that I'd go to Korea and spend 6 months there. And I just keep on doing kind of 6-month terms until I was burnt out, or you know, the drink got the better of me. At the time I didn't think it was an issue. So I landed over, and I had registered to do the Celtic course with Apollo. I went back to my bar stool in the Philippines and soaked up some glorious sunshine for another month, maybe it was 5 weeks. Picked up all my bits and bobs. Oh no, actually, I got arrested in the middle of all of that. That might be for a different podcast, a different tangent. For a second there, my life could have went really badly in the wrong direction. Yeah, most certainly for a different podcast. Here's me saying podcast. I tell you, I'm just listening to Blind Boy, and he's always going on about that. Blind Boy being one of the members of the Rubber Bandits, who is one of the best podcasters you can listen to. Alright, trying to think, talk and navigate at the same time while I'm late for class. So I land over, and I eventually get here. I check into one of the hostels in the centre of town, $5 a night jobs. I meet up with Chris, he brings me out on the piss, tells me what the crack is, puts me on to Craigslist. I says it couldn't be that easy, like, to get yourself an accommodation. Just like I said, sure, it couldn't be that easy to get yourself a job. Couldn't be that easy to get yourself a motorbike. I took about 3 or 4 phone numbers off Craigslist for accommodation. Rang the first number, and it was an American guy by the name of Scott Hill, who I'm still friends with on Facebook. He's since married and settled down somewhere in Vietnam, I can't remember where. But at the time he was renting out apartments to expats. Quite a few people do that. They come over here, and like, if you have $1,500, you can rent, or maybe a little bit more, but about $1,000 or $1,500, you can rent out an apartment and then sublet it to a load of English teachers and make about 300 or 400 off each house. So he had about 4 or 5 when I met him. He wouldn't tell me that until later when I found out what he was up to. You know, obviously he's illegal about it. He just didn't want too many people to know how easy it is to do it. He used to host these parties where he'd get all his tenants together. We'd all meet up on the rooftop of one of his houses and have a barbecue and a right old party. There's remember I told you about that railway that the Chinese had started building from Vietnam but gave up on because of the alleged illegal theft of those islands off the coast of Vietnam. Yeah, my left turn is up here on the left. Anyway, I rang the first number, and Scott says, yeah, come and meet me. He actually came in and met me in town, because I didn't have a motorbike at this time. Brought me out to the first place where I lived, which was, I can still remember the address, 72 Lam Van Ben Street, District 7, Saigon. And I landed out there, and I couldn't believe it. Look at that, man. Yeah, that's one of the better roadside stalls. I couldn't believe it when I got to this house. I got one of the top floor rooms. It was twice the size of a room I'd ever rented back at home. Ensuite, rooftop terrace. And I said, are you kidding me? This room for $250. And that was even before the rent prices got sky high. So I said, yeah, bloody hell, I'll have a bit of that. He wanted $250 and $250 deposit. I picked up a motorbike for, I don't know, what was the first motorbike that I got? I was renting. See, the option is that you can actually rent motorbikes. You want to buy a jacket, there's where you go to buy a jacket. 100 to 150, that's $5 to $7. So anyway, I got the motorbike, started. So no, I'll bring you into the school. This is the second of like 3 separate schools that I work in. There's a kindy across the road, secondary school here. The public school is right around the corner. Oh yeah, I'm not allowed. Okay, sorry. Okay, say hello. All right. Now, technically, I'm not allowed recording here, so I'm gonna turn this off and teach an English class. This is 7th grade, and probably gonna go through a test today. We've been testing them for the last 2 or 3 classes. Over and out.